everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, August the 25th, Grade 1 action at Saratoga. Race number 9 is the personal Ensign for fillies and mares. Let's take a look at this field getting set to go a mile and an eighth. Please scan or click the QR code for race of the day access on mobile. Mike, the number 5 Nest is odds on in this race, but she is facing two quality horses. Clairiere, who is one of the best horses in this division, and Idiomatic, a true up-and-comer.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe the one, Idiomatic. Maybe she will have a real impact on this division as time goes on, Dan, but it feels like at least entering this personal Ensign, you know, it's Nest and Clairiere on the outside, the two horses on the outside that are the two main players in this field. Some of these other fillies have done good things, but these are two of the best fillies and mares in the country.
This is such a quality race that the number 3 Secret Oath, the Kentucky Oaks winner, a horse that's earned over $2.3 million, is 8-1, a distant fourth choice in the wagering. The Timeform US pace projector should give us insight as to how this race will be run. Note the blue bar on the top right of the projector favors front runners. That could be key for Idiomatic. Keep in mind, however, Idiomatic was expected to make the lead last time out in the Delaware Handicap, and she blew the break.
Yeah, stumbled very badly. Still managed to overcome it in a really nice performance. Then I do think she'll make the lead this time, assuming she gets out of the gate. This pace projector, to me, though, also probably gives a little bit of an advantage to Nest as well. She's a very tactical horse. If this pace is slow, she's going to be forward, and she's going to be in front of Clairiere again. And it made all the difference when they just met in the Chuvie a few weeks ago.
Idiomatic is coming into this race following 2 triple-digit buyer victories against graded stakes competition. Let's watch the Delaware Handicap going a mile and 3/16. Remember, when you're utilizing your free Formulator past performances, click on the short comment. You get to watch the whole video because you're going to see the terrible start that Idiomatic had, and then she had to rally against the grain of a speed-favoring track. She was on a prolonged chase, and she's going to be able to get it done over a game classy edition.
This race comes back very fast. I think you want to give Idiomatic maybe the benefit of the doubt, just because she did really stumble badly at the start of that race, and maybe just put her behind the 8 ball a little bit. I don't know about you, Dan. I kind of wanted to see her put away Classy Edition a little bit easier than that. She really had to fight through the stretch there. 2 triple-digit buyers in her last 2 races. It suggests that she can really go with these horses, and she's a major player in here. Personally, I want to see her do it.
I talked to Florent Giroux in the winner's circle after the Delaware Handicap, and he said entering the second turn, he thought he would win by multiple lengths. And then once Idiomatic struck the front, he said that all of a sudden she started to get to waiting a bit, and he had to really work on her. Maybe that stumble at the start did take something out of her. She got it done. Now she steps up, as Mike mentioned. A horse taking a real step up in class is the number 2 Malloy, coming out of a victory in an off-turf race at Hawthorne Park against only 3 other allowance horses. Malloy got up to a very slow pace and is able to sprint on home as the favorite.
Had all the best of it here. It was a really good situation for Malloy. As a 5-year-old, it's the first win of her career in a 2-turn race. Listen, we'll see. She obviously has stepped into some very deep waters here, Dan, off of a win. This is the kind of race that she was supposed to win, and now she's stepping in against some of the best horses in the country.
It was a fine performance there, but as Mike mentioned, it's a huge step up in class. I think they'd be pleased if they could grab a valuable grade 1 placing for her future prospects as a broodmare. Secret Oath is the number 3. She's done some very good things in her career, and she started off 2023 like she was going to really come back firing as a 4-year-old. A couple of big efforts down at Oaklawn Park, including a win in the Azeri over Clairiere. Her last 2 races, maybe not the greatest. The La Troyenne, I thought she had every chance to win that race against Play Hard. Couldn't get it done. Last time out in the Ogden Phipps, I'm not going to hold that race too much against her. I don't think one-turn routing in slow-paced races is her forte.
You're probably right about that. I actually, going into the Phipps last time, I thought maybe the 1-turn configuration of Belmont that she might really like that. As it turns out, I was dead wrong, unless there's some other excuse for that performance. She didn't run well there. The prior 3 starts are all really good. When she beat Clairiere off the layoff, I thought that was a really good performance. She didn't get it done in the 2 grade 1s through the spring. I thought she ran really well in both of those races. I get it. It looked like she was going to win the La Troyenne. She had dead aim, and then she didn't get by. I still thought she ran well in that race. I wouldn't, totally overlook her here, Dan. She's going to be a fair price in this race.
The number 4 is 63 Caliber, who won earlier this meet at Saratoga in a third-level allowance race going out of the chute at a mile. Let's watch 63 Caliber, who's in behind horses when they turn into the stretch under urging. It looks like she's into deep water, but once the gunrunner filly does get outside and into the clear to split horses, she finishes strongly, and the runner-up came out of this race to flatter their performance with a 96 buyer win in an allowance race.
Yeah, these two horses that run 1-2, they're both going to come from off to pay 63 Caliber. Got the split, and she finishes up really well in here. Nostalgic was on the outside all the way. They closed up at the end. They run 1-2, two really nice fillies, I think. 63 Caliber. I'm not worried about her stretching out to 9 furlongs here, Dan. I just really question whether or not she's good enough. She had as far as I could tell, maybe you don't agree with us, that Shawnee 3 starts back, she had a perfectly good trip in that race. She had a shot at Idiomatic in the stretch. I just thought she wasn't good enough.
No, I thought she had every chance in that race as well. I thought Idiomatic was just a little bit better, and with her running style, she's going to hope for some pace. She's probably not the best closer in this race, so she's going to have to take a slight step forward. Nest has been good for all of her career. She was second in the Kentucky Oaks Spine Secret Oath, second in the Belmont Stakes against the boys, and then she just put it all together when shipping up to Saratoga last summer with a couple of dominating wins. Now, she made her belated 2023 debut in this race, the Shoe V, the local prep for the Personal Ensign. And as you can see, it's a very short field. There was not a lot of pace, and Nest's tactical speed helped get her the jump on Clairiere, and that might have made all the difference.
Yeah, it probably did. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, this is basically a match race between these two horses. The other two in this field were totally overmatched in here. I think you want to give Nest maybe at least a little bit of credit in there, Dan. It was a pretty long layoff, and a longer one that I think they thought they were going to have with her, almost 9 months before she came back last time. But that pace was super slow, and she just sat right on top of it. You don't see that many dirt routes run in the manner that race was run, Dan. They were walking early. Last 3/8 of that race at about 36-1. I mean, they were sprinting home, and I just thought it really put Clairiere up against it. Not that I don't think Nest isn't a really, really good horse, because she is.
And while Nest, again, was up close to a slow pace, and Timeform US believes a similar situation could occur here, there is a much more quality opponent of pace setter this time around than in the last race. Just an overmatched horse, Pistolae Zablazon, that Nest was able to just take care of with no problem. She might have to work a bit to take care of Idiomatic, and if she does, she's got to deal with the number 6 Clairiere, who we just saw finish second last time out in the Shoe V, is probably the best closer in this race and has plenty of races. I think she's run 7 triple-digit buyers in her career, good enough to win this.
Yeah, definitely good enough to win this. It's just interesting to go back to that Shoe V again, Dan. You can go back and watch the full replay too, and you can just see how much Clairiere and Rosario were up against it right from the start. I mean, they basically had to go from the start, get right behind Nest, and just sort of stay with her and follow her around the track. I actually felt like she ran fine in there, did not lose really any ground through the stretch. They were sprinting home. I thought it was a good performance. Her prior 2 efforts are obviously both really, really good. This race should play out a little bit differently. I mean, you know, is Nest the better horse than Clairiere? She might be, Dan, but at the morning line odds for this race, the way they're pegged right now, I think you got to take the 6.
Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Top pick time for our Friday race of the day could have very important implications on the Eclipse Award picture for fillies and mares this year. You're going with Clairiere. The price is going to be better. She should get a little bit of a better pace situation. I like the way Nest finished off the layoff last time out. I was very concerned that she had missed so much time going 1 1/8. She got the right trip, but she finished up pretty much under ridden out fashion. I think she'll get the jump on Clairiere again.
I agree. I was taken with her race off the layoff, even though the pace was slow. I thought she looked really good winning, Dan. I'm a huge fan of Nest. And I won't be surprised when she just turns out to be the better horse. But at those morning line odds, I'm taking the 6.
Curious to see what Idiomatic does, especially if she gets to the lead and backs down the fraction. She might have a little bit more upside than the 2 favorites in this race. 6-5-3-1 for Mike, 5-1-4-6 for me. It's the Grade 1 Personal Ensign. It's one of 2 stakes at Saratoga on Friday, and your DRF race of the day.